Hi, my name is David Stevenson, and I live on the side of Pecals Mountain, which is here in the Salish Sea in Victoria, British Columbia, which is the Lekwungen and Sinchothan speaking people's territories. And I'm in the Masters of Psychology.
When you were looking for a graduate school, what compelled you to find Meridian and why did you think it was a good fit?
I've actually started my master's almost 30 years ago and got diverted into a different life path. But so I've been studying psychology and have done lots of different types of trainings, all kinds of different types of trainings over the years in psychology. But I wanted to do my master's for a couple of reasons. I wanted to do a deep dive and actually get my feet under me in a solid way, as well as to position myself for certification as a registered clinical counselor here in British Columbia, which requires an accredited master's from an accredited university. So those are the broad strokes. Why Meridian specifically is actually a friend of mine did her degree there and spoke highly of it. And then also I possibly because of all my years of experience in this kind of field, wanted to get something that just wasn't a sort of trade school, but was one that really focused on the depth of the personal journey as a basis for being assistance to oneself and in particular other people in a counseling field. So when I looked at the depth psychology work, the collective trauma and healing, I've spent most of my life leading organizations that are focused on reconciliation and social cultural wellness with Indigenous people here in British Columbia, where I live.
How has your experience been of students and faculty so far?
The students have been great, as have the faculty. So one of the things that I guess is particularly, beneficial for me is I really need professors or people in spaces I really gravitate towards people who are sort of like, leaders in their field and really know their stuff and are broad thinkers. Because I just naturally am a sort of a broad thinker. I like to tie from the personal fractal it out to the universal and back, so I really appreciate that. And I appreciate that the profs are all in their journey of learning and sharing from that space. And I don't feel like it's a space where I feel that they're on an inquiry and on their own sort of hero's journey or quest themselves, even though much further down the road. But yeah, I feel like there's an interrelationship there that's not one of look, I'm the master and I'm just imparting knowledge and then going to move on to my next thing. It's sort of here, I'm in it with you kind of thing.
A big part of Meridian is our transformative learning model. To somebody who maybe isn't as familiar with it, how would you describe transformative learning and how it's worked into the curriculum at Meridian?
For me, what I think transformative learning means, that the learning itself is not simply the garnering of knowledge. It's actually learning that impacts and shifts and transforms me personally. So in a nutshell, that would be it. So that the learning itself isn't about downloads of knowledge. It's as much about interaction of, well, what does this framework or understanding actually mean to me? And what's my experience with it?
And for you, why is that important in a program? Maybe versus traditional memorization or just the imparting of knowledge?
I enjoy being challenged in personal growth. I enjoy going inside and just learning into, oh, whoa, holy smokes, there's a blind spot or whatever, or this is working well, this isn't. And I find that, and so the other piece I was going to say is like, I think we're in a really interesting time in human history right now. And our ability to process and manage and function with data and information is going to shift. So people who know stuff probably don't know as much as an AI is going to know. So it's one thing to know information and data. It's another thing to have an inner experience that leads to one might call, I don't know, wisdom or relationality, which information is not, doesn't do that. So that'd be my thing. Like, it's a personal journey, not a journey of information and knowledge in that sort of data sense.
How do you think that attending Meridian has changed how you view the world or will change how you view the world today?
Two answers. One is that it has changed how I view the world for sure already. And I don't see that stopping. And how it has done that is basically the classes have asked me to reflect, like, so we read a book, we just read a book on narcissism, or we just read The People of the Lie, that kind of thing. And then ask questions that cause me to reflect on how did these, what I'm understanding in those contexts matter to me. And what have, self-awareness is always, a journey, right? It's always, and it's never a completed moment, in my experience anyway, so far. So I'm really, so yeah, that's why it's important to me to just have that kind of dialogue with the material in a way that's not just download the information and then feed it out in a sort of conveyor belt kind of way, but just, yeah, I don't know.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's impacted you, it sounds like. It. What are your professional plans after Meridian? And how do you think that pursuing this MA in psychology will help you get there?
My professional goal is to continue to support in leadership spaces, but definitely I'm not probably going to be one of those people who does a lot of like corporate strategic planning. I'll be more like, as a leader and as a team, what's going on below the waterline here that you can work with to be more conscious and effective in what you care about.
You had a prospective student in front of you right now who was on the fence about Meridian.
Right.
What would you tell them in a sentence or two?
If you're looking for a school that's just a trade school and you can learn the mechanics of doing counseling like you can for electrical engineering, then there's lots of options. If you're looking to develop a personal art of being on an inner journey as a basis for supporting other people in their development, or even yourself or your organization, then this is, I don't know of other schools that offer this kind of, it's a bit of a journey. This isn't an exchange of information, it's a personal journey.
Is there anything I didn't ask that's still coming up for you or that you think would be important to add?
Yeah, at the end of the day, if you don't know, just do what you love. And if this is something you'd love to do, then all the mechanics there's going to be 100 reasons not to do it. And like anything else, and then it's just a matter if you're called to do it, then it's a matter of courage and perseverance to find yourself, in the space and moving through it.